Once more in my life, I'm going to attempt to explain you something of which I don't really have a clue about, which is biochemistry, indeed. I can say, during that homelessness care home stay, 4 years, 2010 following, and previous end of 90s, I got a severe leg problem, like that of my grandmother. So I don't know, maybe I got a kind of push or anything. He have some more of the bad elements we detected, out of that perspective, we kind of detected. Anyhow, I'm coming to that. We detected and think that we should not kind of undo it or redo it or do any kind of embetterment, but to kind of strengthen the inherited weakness, which is obviously in German Bindegewebsschwäche. I don't know the English expression, and Arabic of course also not. It is a weakness of the fascian, of the inner coherence of muscles and veins and the like. So I got a varizen problem, and I got a problem with kind of I thought to myself, I thought many things, and I repeated it. I thought I saw the Damaschke Straße in Marburg. I did see indeed Berlin, somewhere my brother used to call it Potze. Yeah, it's Potze. What was it, Potze? It's the very long road starting from the Stabi, the Staatsbibliothek. Potsdamer Straße, no, it's another street, I don't recall it. I drove there many times, even 10 years minus in winter on my MTB, which is also not the roller MTB. I don't have access to it, but it is still mine. And I demanded it back via Swift. Oddly, I had to demand it indeed via Swift, yeah, because your letters that you send, I won't send any letters any longer, because the post in Germany did indeed cancel the very useful service of a Sendungsverfolgung, yeah, so that you would follow your letter. It's no longer possible unless you pay 10 euros or so, in contrast to 4, approximately. So I'm going now to tell you something about what I have no really a kind of clue about, because as many people around, no one has a clue of biochemistry. No one understands it. So this CRISPR, think of it in capital letters. So of course it is possible to influence genes and the like, but to me, although the problem that I inherited from my grandmother possibly was already end of 90s kind of severe, which means that research on it had started much earlier, which could lead to Marburg. I'm telling this to support my causes, to support what I wrote on the social media platforms. I do hope though that people are able to follow me through longer talks after 4 o'clock in the morning to gym. I'm kind of celebrating anything, I don't know quite what, but it is since May I'm quite content, I must say. Halfway so, not really content. If it was true that many things was simply for business model reasons, as I reconstructed it, the reconstruction of the criminal core complex, part of it is indeed infecting and influencing the body in terms of, put in SDGB terms, paragraphs 223, if one would have been interested or will be interested in it. if one is not in the nose there. So those kind of things could be graspable, capable, graspable. So if it was true that for business model reasons a menu was derived of keyword Sendeanlage, yeah? The girl in my primary school class told me, hey, you have a Sendeanlage. Yeah, I did not understand it until either the second version of my reconstruction of the criminal core complex or the first version, or already end of 2011 or so, or 2010, halfway ready. So, keyword blaue Blume, blue light, cosinus sinus, Schall in German. I am missing the English expression because I don't know talk about waves and so on and what to do with it. So, if nature was changed, if my family was taken for a bad example to build kind of positive examples upon, this is the kind of column, yeah, they would build of people somehow being too interested upon having witnessed or having done the so-called self-murder of another relative of mine, World War II days. So if a kind of research has already begun there, let us follow them. Yeah? Let us build a grouping and follow them through the decades, in which context I say I was stalked through the decades. I don't mean guys that are getting an impression and have looks or something, but really stalking, kind of already in Marburg 1, 1992, when I was studying there, they would provide me a flat with a neighbor that would come in and check things and so on. The 13 Points house, Homburg reside, which very likely was sold to 5 people, yeah, which were who were quite successful. I said it, at least 9 points and then upwards until 11. So of course I didn't get anything because they knew that I don't know. So why would they want to offer me something? That's of course it's a real life experience. I do have it. So stalking through the decades. So somehow there's intelligence behind, of course. So they would start anything, learning, experiences, knowledge, and all of a sudden we arrive at, for example, psychology, nature changing, and biochemistry, which no one has a clue about. So if they had kind of witnessed that things in the other body change upon intercourses, which lead to wounds and so on, then they would, of course, because there's intelligence behind, start to kind of do tryouts here and there, or just didn't care, but others would witness the things in other people's bodies and appearances. So nature changing. My first household, over there somewhere, I don't know who really to address unless I swift somebody who knew too much and reflected it. Yeah, but what I shall do with those reflections there, I can eat it and eat it and eat it and burst here. I had a feeling of a brain burst as summer of 22. So research had started and we arrived at blue lights and intercourses, and in Marburg 4, I think it was, I had indeed a blue light with cows on it. Yeah, such a party light or anything. So I kept one cow and the rest I throw it even, so it was not stolen. So they would then start to do anything whilst their intercourses, for which they get money, but I don't, because I don't have intercourse. I know that one can get money for it, but I was on complete other grounds and levels, and thought in different situations, which I escaped luckily enough. So, and at the latest, as of 2016 or 17, if I remember it correctly, it is followable and researchable in my Amazon account, which in anyway is kind of open. Yeah. Either you watch me through the floor or through the walls, or I'm completely over and mad. I mean, it's 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, so that was the latest when they thought, well, we really have to do something with blue lights. What should we do? You disinfect beds in hotels and so on and so forth. Yeah, so why not? Yeah, you think further. So there, all of a sudden, you would have a blue flower in front of you, which is glooming all over. But blue lights and waves surely, for certain, lead to dangers. Think of teeth bleaching. No one has money for teeth bleaching unless one follows my track and does everything I do some levels higher, which was able for but 2 former friends, even female ones, not the mother but the daughter. So yeah, maybe they even can halfway influence things meantime. But as the Varitza example shows, of course, if I would kind of here, I want to have I don't know, better nails or anything, then I go there and order it, as was suggested by a Pakistani girl, by the way, before I got a whole makeover in the was going to become was going to get a whole makeover in the UAE. What did she wear there? Let's put her on this or anything. I wore different things, so according to temperature, for example, and humidity. This is most important. Yeah. So think of it, yeah. And by the way, the other example that they're kind of experimenting with things and using other people's household, if not the whole person. So maybe I kind of escaped also that situation, because no one told me that we were all video camped, yeah, and I got nothing, of course, as the example with the 13 points homework. Yeah, one also does not really know what to ask for. Yeah, I mean, we are on a kind of level variancy. So I'm inclined to be on the psychology level, in terms of we are employing here a kind of alternative or negative psychology, influencing other people, telling them no, it is not possible in Germany that people break into, or it is not possible that people in Germany, especially in Erfurt, I presume, are prone to becoming a victim of computer criminality. I mean, my computer was all over. It is since 2016, starting buying, selling, handing things back, and people just learned and took advantage. And I got nothing, of course, because it was a kind of established. When this guy, it would really be interesting if this one and the former one, 10 years younger, were really the same. I mean, it could be researchable if one would have an interest. But economics, mathematics, I see my future in black colors. no, this is maybe too. I'm not announcing anything though. This is psychology. I'm just trying. It is cramped. Yeah, it is, but but one can follow it through if indeed. Jetzt the advantage thought. If indeed there was a kind of advantage to simply move on further and following the course and the aim set, disregarding people shouting simple certain phrases behind me, those that I wrote the other day or 3 days before, or just the same day. This is, as my situation was really not created nicely. I wouldn't formulate they played it ugly, but it was close to it. And this can also, in that case, a sentence of my aunt. So, and why I'm referring to my grandmother, this is also a kind of established earlier in the 80s, when the mother's side of mine died, sirens, presumably. This can't be researched, possibly, unless it is resembled in brains that one could detect it via signals catched out of the brain. So, 13 points homework result sold 5 times. I presume the price 20,000, even 20,000. It was a little homework though, the first one. A larger one would have to follow, and followed indeed twice. One I wrote for another. So, and I get nothing. So, and before, in the 80s, one could start demanding, but I don't know the address any longer. And also, how shall I can go there with a pumpkin or anything. 80s, my grandmother died, and we got maybe even 300,000 mark, Deutsche Mark then. We didn't get it, because it was kind of snatched away. We were personal, my parents, were on kind of personal terms. So, and after the 13 points homework result, it was indeed the case. I formulated it also, I wrote it down. It will be deleted, of course. It's hopeless. I do not say it's senseless, but it is hopeless. We got not enough. My grandmother had it, but it was snatched away, very likely. And so they might not be the same, but then let's presume there are already 2 in the nose, that in the knowing that if you snatch away this and that, you make money out of it, and they don't know anything. Now the situation is different, because since May I can argue and I can formulate Strafanzeigen. Not very concrete, some, but indicating here I'm here in your folders, in your folder rows, with my name and so on and so forth. So, research and selling out things and earning in all kinds of businesses, as I also can show. So when any prostitution or porno circle exists, one indeed might be confronted with such a situation, and I'm not here to recommend anything, but if it kind of if those people are involved, who are the people you are allowing to confront yourself with. this biochemistry thing, of which I have no clue about, and other people also not, traceable back, including the kind of signaling name of his health center number 1, leads back to a guy that I had forgotten the formulation. Leads back to a very guy that might have been kind of angered or felt himself not at ease, unwell. Not one has to formulate mutually. Then in that case, not being able to cope in simple school situations, it's not in pauses but in classes. So if one is talking, yeah, the one is talking. So either one does not talk, he chose that, or one talks also. So it kind of, I was meant to pay indeed. I paid with 20 years. You cannot, you can somehow try to get back some kind of worth, but you cannot really measure it. I could have spent my life differently, and I certainly would have liked that. And I did not sense it. It was not sensible. He did not show up and told me, "Hey, piss off! I don't like hear you talking. I don't like your analysis on any kind of book or anything. And I don't want to sit in this class anyway or anything." He didn't. He one incident I recall, we were somewhere on a journey through Germany, and we were at McDonald's, and he told me in the kind of Schleuse, Duan, he told me anything what he does not like to eat or anything. Of course it is important. Yeah, I have much information and no one approached me and offered me anything, because now we would have a third grouping now. So here we see her since 2002, and she does simply take no money, for what I also would not know. Yeah, for researching into my computer before the UAE state, for example. So if that guy was not at ease, this is then the kind of grounding if one would have to be interested, and to be able to, in terms of the SDGB, I'm kind of promoting here, it's all in there already since centuries, presumably. No matter the GDR period, in which they simply would change number combinations, Ziffern in Germany, ciphers. But it's the same structure that you work upon, the same way of dealing with it, and the same way of simply regarding things. Yeah, I made it possible. It's not all in the mind map, of course. This would have not been possible on the one hand in 2019 when starting with the second version, but it was possible after approximately May 24 or autumn 24. So it's of course not all in the mind map, because this is not a 5-year tour, but in the reconstruction, the second version, and the single texts, which are all compiled in the list, which are now falsificated, which is unlucky, unfortunate. Presumably because my devices got copied or changed their data stamps and so on. Well, not there, my bag was there, and then later on I saw there was something wrong with the device, and my bag is always here and with me. And it should be kept that way, because otherwise you could get close to one of my solutions. And and one would infringe my rights and those of security authorities. It is not that I'm so very important, I'm kept in the unimportancy, but it is, I mean, only the timeline starting from the Second World War, because one sees then a structure and can follow up things and muddle through. This is interesting even, and was not completely yet in all details foreseeable. So all texts are a compilation, they belong to each other, there are footnotes referring in between and so on and so forth. So hanging out of only footnotes is not sufficient. Yeah, albeit my footnotes are always quite rich in text and meaning. So it's a matter of style, guys. So maybe I can think of another example, which leads also to the stock theme, New York and stock, for example. Because while I was writing in the very same period, but one biochemistry paper dropped severely, half even, or more. This is unfortunate. I have no time to follow up these things. Yeah. This is on Instagram.